Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are wrapping up our path to the Albemarle, which can mean only one thing, folks. We're on the Albemarle. So let's take a look at our commander. Now you can see I'm still running Azure Lane Belfast here. I actually think that this is a goof up. I think I was supposed to have switched this one back over to Fraser like we did with everybody else. So keep that in mind. The gameplay you're going to see is with Azure Lane Belfast though. But personally I run Bruce Fraser rather than Belfast on these guys. And the reason for that is I get fully packed. Okay, I prefer fully packed over a refill station. Gives you an extra radar, gives you an extra heal. So that's my choice for it anyway. So we would run Bruce Fraser with Nikolai Kuznetsov and Philip Vian. We're running Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, and Fixated with Fully Packed as our skills. Let's look at our commander, or our equipment. We have Aiming Systems Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, Steering Gears Mod 3, and we are running the Gunfire Control System Mod 2. Okay, we are fully upgraded, and we have 3 heals, 3 sonars, and 3 radars because of running fully packed. We are running the Alpha Test flag and the Santa 21 camo that I made permanent for this thing because I really like the look of it. Alright, stats. Survivability is 43,800 hit points with 19% torpedo damage reduction. Artillery, you get 9 203mm guns. Those are the 203 50 caliber BL Mark 9s that reach out to 18.7 kilometers. They reload in 12.5 seconds, which is actually not good at all. To put that into perspective, I believe the Baltimore gets its guns reloaded in, what, 9 seconds? Something like that. So you've got a really slow reload on these. So, not sure why they're so slow. But HE shell maximum damage is 3,300 with a 20% chance to set fires. AP, did I just call? HE shell damage was 3,300 with a 20% chance to set fires. AP shell maximum damage is 4,860. Secondaries, you have 114mm 45 caliber RP41 Mark 6s. That you have 12 of that reach out to 5.2 kilometers and reload in just 3 seconds. They have an HE shell that does 1,600 damage and 10% chance to set fires. Torpedoes, you get 533mm QR Mark 2s. You get 8 of those, a quad launcher on either side of the ship. The reload time is 96 seconds. The maximum damage is 15,533. The torpedo detectability is 1.3 kilometers, and the torpedo range is 10 kilometers with a 62 knot top speed. AA defense. You have decent AA in this thing. With 20mm Oerlikon Mark 5s, you have 32 of those, doing 98 damage per second, reaching out to 2 kilometers. Then you have the 40mm Bofors Mark 2s that you have 24 of, doing 95 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. Then you have the 114mm 45 caliber RP41 Mark 6 secondaries that you have 12 of that reach out to 5 kilometers and do 107 damage per second. Maximum speed is 33.9 knots, so actually not too shabby for a heavy cruiser. It's not super fast, but I mean, when you consider, I think the Balti, what, 32 knots, maybe 33 knots top, and this is basically 34? That's not bad. Turning circle, though, not the greatest at 720 meters. That's worse than the Massachusetts and the Alabama. So, battleship-esque turning ability. Rudder shift, though, with a double rudder, we have a 5.1 second rudder shift, which isn't bad. But again, it does take a while. Because we have the double rudder shift build, that helps us turn a little bit quicker, be a little shiftier. But the overall turning circle doesn't seem to have changed. It just helps the quick movements to avoid incoming shells and that sort of thing. Concealment. 11.5 kilometers by sea, 7.2 by air, 2 is always guaranteed, and a 6.8 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Armor. We have a 25mm bow. which means anything 15 inches and above goes straight through your bow and likely citadels you. So keep that in mind. You cannot bow tank in this ship. Don't do it. Alright, if we get rid of that, and we go look at the rest of it, you can see that it actually has decent side armor. I think I might have gotten rid of the side armor. Yeah. So there's your side armor right there, 27 millimeters on the side, which means basically if you, and the belt is also pretty good. If you give the broadside of this thing, or not broadside, if you angle the side plating of this thing decently, you're going to have a good chance to block a lot of shells, even high. Now, obviously, things that overmatch aren't going to care about your angle, but so you got to keep that in mind. With that being, what was it, 27 millimeters? That means anything 15 inches and below can bounce off the side of your ship. Okay? So if you angle well against 15-inch guns and below, you're not going to have any issues. But anything 16 inches and above does not care about the angle of the ship because it overmatches the armor. That's what overmatching is, in case you didn't know. So, angling against an Iowa, angling against a Vladdy, angling against anything 16 inches and above is just asking to be dev struck. Just giving you that warning right now. But that being said, as you can see, the side armor is actually pretty thick at the belt. But the problem is, it also has that raised citadel, and it is a huge raised citadel. Meaning that any penetrations along the sides of this ship, you're pretty much getting a citadel. You're not going to overpin very often on this thing. It is almost always Citadel City when a battleship shoots one of these things. Almost always. Alright, so let's look at the overview. Sequential torpedoes is the British torpedoes. You launch tube by tube. Hidden, good concealment, means the ship can get closer to enemies before being detected. And Pyromania, above average chance for HE shells to cause fire. Albemarle, a project for a well-protected heavy cruiser drafted shortly after the outbreak of World War II. One of the fundamental differences in comparison to ships of previous generations was the placement of the main battery guns in 3-gun turrets. She was designed in 1940, but she was never built. So let's take a look at her. Again, I love this camo. Very rarely do I use like brightly colored camos, because I just don't like the look of them. But this Christmas camo on this particular ship, I really like the look of it. So I was like, yep, we're going to go with that. And honestly, this ship just does not have any really good redeeming features in terms of how it looks. Like, the ship does not look very good. And on top of that, not only does it not look very good, it has so much ship sticking out of the water. And that ends badly more often than not. So with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Greece. And I saved this one because this was just a fun match. It's not going to be the highest damage game in the world, but it was a really fun match, and I think that you guys will enjoy watching it. So we're going to go off to the left side, and we're going to get into a fight with just about everything, I think, in this one. If I can remember right. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've had this video sitting here for a little while. I just haven't recorded the narration for it. Because I wanted to get some other videos out there first. Because, honestly, these Path 2 videos don't do that well. And so, I like to break them up a little bit. Instead of doing an entire full-on week, day after day after day of the series, I like to break them up occasionally to get some other things in there to let people watch. You know what I mean? To get some more people to watch. I do these Path 2s because it helps people. They're really not, it's not a popular series, especially now that we're on cruisers, and I imagine when we get to destroyers, nobody will watch it. Just due to the fact that people don't like to watch destroyers, people don't really care to watch cruisers, people usually like to watch battleships, just because big booms, right? So, with that being said though, we're going to get up in here, we're going to be a lot more aggressive than most people are. Especially in a British heavy cruiser. Like, most of the time you see these things, they're at their max range, they're lobbing shells, setting people on fire, which is something they're very, very good at. I don't like to play like that. You guys know me. That is just not how I like to play. We get rammed here right off the bat. No big deal. We're much bigger than you are, sunshine. Know your role. Now, we go to shoot at that guy, immediately he disappears, which means most of our shells hit the island. But that also gets us lit up, and we are broadside to the enemy right now, and we have no idea what's going to shoot at us. So we turn out to try to avoid the inevitable, and Fiji opens up on us, which is kind of hilarious. At that range, good luck with that, Fiji. So we're going to shoot at the Fiji with our HE, and then we've got a Scharnhorst heading in this direction as well. And you can see no worries whatsoever about getting hit, and we didn't hit the Fiji either. But that being said, we do have the Scharnhorst. We're going to take that shot even though he disappeared. We do have the destroyer here, Lay Terrible, to pay attention to. And I believe we get a first hit, and yeah, there it is. We get 5 shatters of the HE and 1 penetration for 1,000 damage on that Scharnhorst. So, nothing too good, to be honest. But we're gonna continue our push now that we're kind of out of danger. I mean, we're still being shot at, but it's not nearly as bad. They have other targets to shoot at now. So we're gonna take this opportunity to start pushing in, and we're gonna secure the edge. Now, there is a Colorado pushing into mid, which is terrifying. Remember, we can bounce 15-inch guns and below off of the side of the ship if we angle properly. That's 16-inch guns, which means it overmatches us. Which means if we try to angle against him, we're going to have a bad time, unless he hits our belt armor, because our belt armor is the only place on the ship where we actually have thick enough armor to bounce 16-inch guns. But it's a very small section of the ship, and it's not likely to be the section that gets you into trouble. Those shells will find a weak spot and will go through and nuke us, and we cannot afford to have that happen. So we got our eyes glued on that guy. We've got the Prinzeugen over here as well. You can see we're missing a lot of shells here. He turned in towards us a little bit, which is causing us to miss a few shells. But these shells take so long to get anywhere at long range that it is actually ridiculous. Like, I don't know what their muzzle velocity is, but it feels like it's very, very slow. Because it just takes forever for these shells to find the target. Like, if we look at this Fiji right now, it says that it's 9.6 second flight time to go 14 kilometers. And you can see his AP is actually good enough to punch through us a little bit, so we're having to turn out, avoid the majority of them as best we can, and fire some HE as he's backing around the corner of the island. And then we're going to straighten ourselves back out and continue our push in. And this is kind of what you have to do in this thing, as we set a fire on that Fiji as well. So you'll see I look back over the Fiji to see if we can't set another fire, since he just damage conned. And Prinzeugen is kind of my target right now because I can't really shoot the Fiji. He's behind the mountain. But Colorado has lost all of his hit points. He's not long for this world. He goes down to the Cheshire of all things. And then we get a fire on the Prinzeugen. He's going to DC that. And then we see the Lay Terrible here. So you see a destroyer, you shoot at the destroyer, am I right? So that's what we're going to try to hit here. And unfortunately, he's going to turn all the way out and avoid our shells. So nothing we can do there. Edinburgh is running for the hills, which is hilarious to me. Of all of the ships to be running away from everything, the Edinburgh is like the least likely to do so, and yet it's the one doing it. But Lay Terrible, we managed to knock out his propulsion, which is great. We're going to take another shot at him, and this HE, when it does hit, if it hits destroyers, is downright devastating. And he gets very fortunate not to be hit again with that second salvo. Kind of went high and low on him, which is to be expected occasionally. But Scharnhorst over here has decided that he wants to fight me heads up. Now, what doesn't the Scharnhorst have? Well, the Scharnhorst does not have 15-inch guns and above. Which means I'm not afraid of his guns. Alright? I can literally go toe-to-toe with a Scharnhorst and be just fine. He only has 283mm guns, which I believe are 12-inch guns? Somebody will have to correct me. But we hit the Fiji and the Scharnhorst there. I'm not sure which one I set a fire on. I think it was the Fiji. And they DC it, so we go ahead and we start working on the Scharnhorst. Now, what we do have to worry about with the Scharnhorst is the fact that the Scharnhorst has the ability to torpedo us. Now, you can see, I'm moving in for the assist here to kill this freaking Lay Terrible. And we get a nice shot there, get a good couple of penetrations and a fire on him. he realizes he's in trouble. He starts to panic. He starts going for it. I think he eats a torpedo, if I remember correctly, and he does. Down he goes to the Akatsuki's torpedoes. And now we're in a little bit of trouble. We've got a Fiji punching us in the face, so we can't turn to the Fiji because we know he's going to be shooting armor piercing at us. You can see I'm lining up the torpedoes, but you can see the Scharnhorst torpedoes were so horribly sent at us that it's not even close. Like, he missed us by like 3 miles with those torpedoes. Yeah, I'm assuming it's a newer player, but we get another fire on him. That's going to be a perma-fire, I believe, and he's going to burn for a little while. Now, the unfortunate side of things is he's going to be able to survive it for quite a while as well. Now, we're being shot over top of the island by an Edinburgh and a Fiji, which is not preferable, because I want to use my armor against this freaking Scharnhorst, but I can't give my broadside to the 2 AP cruisers on my right. So it's really, really not preferable. So we're going to back up, let the island shield us from those 2 cruisers if we can, and then we can start to angle ourselves a little better against the Scharnhorst. And you can see this next shot he sends at somebody else because he already knows. He's not going through my armor. We do get another fire on the Scharnhorst, and so you can see we're just starting to burn him down. Like, he's got nothing he can do here. And we're not the only ones either. We've got this Akatsuki to my left, which is baffling. I don't get it, but whatever. And then we have the Cleveland, I believe, behind me, doing the same thing. Where we're both farming this Scharnhorst here. He's got nothing he can do about it. He is going to burn. There's just too many cruisers shooting him with HE. And so we're going to continue to punch him now. He's broadside to us now, or close to broadside, so I'm actually thinking about switching to AP. But I'm assuming at any moment he's going to get a damage con back, and he's going to damage con. As he should be getting close to a damage con. And then I want to be able to set him on fire immediately again, so that would pretty much seal his fate, because I don't want to chase him down. But you can see our team has lost the Delta Cap. They're still fighting over there, but they've lost it. Our team is currently trying to grab the Beta Cap, and we have grabbed the Alpha Cap. So we don't chase kites, right, guys? We take shots at them where we can, but we don't let them dictate what we do in the match. So it's at this point that I decide to go ahead and move out and ignore this Scharnhorst for the rest of the game. After, I believe we get a fire here, but you can see he fires a salvo at us, and so I've got to turn in. I got to respect it a little bit. And he hits us a couple times, bunch of overpins, no problem. And you can see I am trying to set a fire here. Like, I really, really want to fire, because I know it's a perma-fire. And then we're going to go in, bow in on the Prinz Eugen, and see if we can't get rid of this Prinz Eugen, who is broadside on it begging for it. We do manage to get the fire on the Scharnhorst, by the way. So, now that that's a thing, we punch this Prinz Eugen in the face with HE, and then we load the AP immediately. Because, I mean, broadside cruiser, this is all day long. And we well, I say we absolutely punch him in the mouth, but we actually got 5 overpins on the man. 5 overpins on our Prinz Eugen. Really? Come on now. I know we didn't quite hit the center of the ship like we wanted to. We hit a little too far to the back of the ship, which is why we got so many overpins. But it is to be expected. Sometimes it does happen. And so we're going to push in. I believe the Prinz Eugen got torpedoed. Or the battleship took care of it. One or the other. But Prinz Eugen went down. And that leaves this Nagato out here just begging for it. So we're going to start switching our focus to the Nagato. The 2 enemy cruisers that were over here, the Fiji and the Edinburgh, they ran away. So we don't have to worry about them. So it's literally everybody on our team versus this Nagato. And even though they have a 2-cap lead, or a 2-cap stalemate going on, we're winning on points because we're beating their team. Like, our team is stuck together. We're pushing people, you know, we're singling out their team because their team is just leaving them out to dry. And that's something you can't do. Now, you can see Nagato, 410mm guns, go straight through our bow. We got lucky he didn't citadel it. Could have easily happened. But we're going to move over here into Bravo and try to catch these cruisers, because you know darn well what the cruiser's going to do. They've done it 3 times at this point in the match. They've done a big circle every time. They've went from one side of the map to the other side of the map, back to this side of the map, back to that side. That's what they've done this entire time. So the goal here is to move up into the Bravo cap and catch these guys off guard. Now, the good news is I have HE, and the Edinburgh does not have HE. We both have torpedoes. We both potentially could have radar. And I got spotted like just for a short amount of time, and there's the Edinburgh. So we go ahead, we start to turn in. We want to get bow into these guys, because if you leave too much of an angle, these guys will punch you in the mouth with that little armor piercing, and they will not overpin you. They won't have the same issue that I had on that Prinz Eugen. And look at that accuracy, man. Just destructive accuracy. If I could actually aim it. But you can see I am angled a little bit. I'm trying to get these guys to hit that side armor of mine, rather than, or that belt armor side plating, rather than going through my bow side plating. And the Edinburgh opens up one more time, and unfortunately I had HE loaded here because I thought he was going to bow tank us. So we knock out his torpedo tubes again. You can see I'm running hydro because I'm anticipating torpedoes. And he's going to fire one more shot here. And as we get the armor piercing loaded, I knew I was going to kill him. And unlike, you know, it is just my luck. And it's just my luck. As we finish him off with armor piercing, he gets one more reload in because he's got those little 150mm guns or 152mm guns. He's got those little guns. He gets one more reload off, and he absolutely smashes me with it because I over-angled to get the rear turret on him. Did I need the rear turret? Probably not. Could have easily killed him with the front guns. It was a dumb play by me to go overextend, over-angle to get those rear turrets. I probably could have just shot him with the fronts and killed him. But you live and learn. It's just one of those things. You catch yourself doing it when you're watching the video back. Like, I knew in the moment that I screwed up, but once you get to look back and watch the video of how bad you screwed up, you knew he was going to reload. You knew it. The guy has a little light cruiser. It's not like it's a freaking heavy cruiser out there with a 12-second reload. You know he's going to beat your reload. So the fact that I actually go that broadside to eat those freaking AP shells, and of course every single one of them hits, every single one of them citadels, it was absolutely beautiful. And we end up with 86,000 damage. I feel like we did pretty well in this. 8 fires, a couple of citadels thrown in there on the Edinburgh at the end, and you know, it was a fun match. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because like I said, is it a barn burner game? Absolutely not. But it really does showcase team play more than anything else, because our team kind of gave up on one flank, but when they came back, they were continuing to single out opponents, which is why these guys ended up dead, because we were able to focus fire each and every one of them, whether it be the Scharnhorst or the Prinz Eugen or the Nagato. Like, every one of those guys got singled out by our entire team. And so, if you are going to have a team that groups together, being able to focus an enemy and get them off the board quickly is the key, and you've got to continue to push your advantage. You can't just sit on your laurels. You've got to push that advantage. But this game's almost over. There's 15 seconds left. We're actually only one tick away from winning the match on points at any moment. There we go. Finally got our points. So, yeah, it was a pretty solid match all the way around for the entire team. Nobody really did anything bad except me at the end there, but 86,000 damage. Third on the team. Akatsuki and Hipper beat us, so not too bad. Over 2,000 base XP, so if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.